prep. I know that some of you all know my colleagues, like Abigail Lyon, who's here today. And so it's just really great to connect with this group. If you are new to prep, we are a collaboration-driven local organization and part of the National Estuary Program. And we work with towns, researchers, and local organizations to try to offer scientifically informed solutions to improve the health of our Piscataqua watershed, the bodies of water in our watershed, which include Great Bay and Hampton Seabrook estuaries. So you might have seen our work through some of our restoration and monitoring programs, our grant programs, and we also offer several resources like this one. So I'm really excited to walk you all through this morning to tell you how we're building capacity and stewardship through this new communications digital toolkit. So I hope you will find this valuable and useful in the awesome work that you all do. I have the chat open, and I thought that we could start off by just popping something in the chat that you all find people misunderstand about stormwater. What's something that you find that people misunderstand about stormwater?
You offering comment, Amy?
Yes, just toss something out there. So Susan
Yeah,
says
I
people
think
think
I
storm
think the
drainage,
best I think the biggest misunderstanding is what where does it go and why is it important? Uh,
amazing.
I think most
Thanks.
folks thinks it goes to the sewer and it's treated like sewage.
Thanks, Joe. That's awesome. I see in the chat people think that a storm drain is a sewer drain. They think it's treated or filtered like stormwater or like wastewater. People think stormwater is wastewater, or that stormwater and wastewater are the same thing. I'm sure that there are lots of things coming through your minds, and these are all totally the ones that I think of. People have a lot of confusion about stormwater. It's just this thing that exists in our world. And it's also this really huge opportunity. I think that understanding this perspective about this confusion is really valuable when it comes to building stewardship because we really need it kind of puts a finger on a problem in that we need to find ways to make stormwater easier to talk about. Even if folks grasp that, hey, stormwater runoff has a big impact on the bodies of water that we care about, sometimes they often feel overwhelmed or they can't make a difference or this problem is too big for them. But as some of you all mentioned in the chat and Joe also articulated, there are so many more people that really just don't know what it is. They don't know who manages it and why. And they really have no clue about how it's impacting the waterways that they love. So it's this really interesting puzzle for me. And as I've been working on this stormwater toolkit, because I found that in speaking with uh, a lot of folks, that stormwater management is super personal to various communities in our watershed, but it's also this mystery that's hiding in plain sight. And so I thought we would start today by digging into that perspective a little bit. What does stormwater look like when it's a mystery? So these are some images of Charleston, South Carolina, where I lived about 20 years ago. And this is when I started paying attention to stormwater, but I didn't know it had a name. So these are some more recent images, but this scene is very familiar to me. Charleston is a coastal city that has that's kind of flanked by two major rivers that flow into an estuary system. And after a normal rain event, like the one that we're looking at here on the screen, we would see lots of stormwater problems. I would see cars trying to drive through flooded streets. Occasionally, I would see kayakers attempting to paddle down the street, and it would be this huge disruption for a normal rainy day. So, not extreme weather. This is a normal rainy day in the city that I lived in. And I was totally in the dark. I didn't know what this water was. I didn't really know where it went, and I had no idea what was in it other than the idea that I really don't want to go into this stormwater. So about 10 years pass, and I find myself living in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and stormwater is coming up for me again, but I still don't really know that much about it. The way that I'm encountering it is I'm walking all over the city, and Cambridge, of course, is a city right across from Boston, along the Charles River that leads to another estuary. And I would see these quite steel plaques. I don't know if you can see me, but they were quite big, and they're right in front of most of the storm drains in Cambridge, and they all say the same thing: don't dump drains to the Charles River. And I was always intrigued when I saw these plaques because I thought that fish was really cool. It was kind of an interesting design to see on a public sidewalk, but I didn't know it was an alewife. And I didn't even know an alewife was a fish. I just thought it was a subway line. And I understood that the storm drain wasn't a place for trash because of the don't dump language. But I would see these on a sunny day as I'm walking for maybe 30 seconds to wherever I need to go, and nothing was draining at that particular moment. So I didn't know what we were talking about when we were talking about something's draining to the Charles River. And so now I live in Kittery, Maine. I've been here for several years, and I started working for Prep in 2024. And after all this time, I have had some really great education about stormwater. And it's a lot. I really deeply appreciate the work that you all do because it's super complex um, in the different ways that our municipalities are managing stormwater. I have a lot of support from my staff. They are an incredible team who offer so many different perspectives about stormwater from both the community engagement side and the science side. So this is my staff here, and I can connect you with any of these folks after this meeting. They've also helped me understand the stress that stormwater places on our estuaries in New Hampshire and Maine. So in our 2023 State of Our Estuaries report, it found that between 2017 and 2020, non-point sources, which is primarily stormwater, accounted for 78% of the nitrogen load in Great Bay. And now we're looking into other contaminants and nutrients that wreak havoc, like phosphorus and sediment. And this is me. So I am our communications coordinator. I'm a late bloomer to stormwater, and even though I've learned so much since joining Prep, I do not consider myself a stormwater expert, like some of you all on this call. But I am a writer and I am a communicator. And I also observe the world around me. This is something that is a really deep part of who I am. And in working on this project, I really have been thinking about the ways that, hey, how do I connect this knowledge of and deep understanding of not knowing what stormwater is with how we communicate about stormwater. And it's illuminated for me that we must connect the dots between the personal and the experiences that people have. So this issue isn't hiding in plain sight. Because I think that people really struggle to care about things that they don't understand or confuse them. It makes it harder to have good management. It makes it harder to show up and make behavior changes that we all need to participate in to care for our waters. Um, and these experiences, they are not unique to me. I'm sure that they come up for you all in your day to day. But I know that if we want to build more stewardship around stormwater management, we have to find the ways to connect the dots in ways that people understand, and also in the places that they're gathering. Because we have to remember that stewardship is really about people. So let's zoom in on the toolkit a little bit and focus a little bit on the people in our region and who this toolkit is for. And surprise, it's for you. You're welcome. I hope it is valuable to you. You see this map here on the right side because this is the watershed that PrEP serves. And we are really excited to offer this free resource to our entire watershed. And while we designed it for our watershed in mind, we really feel like there's a lot of crossover with many communities in Maine and New Hampshire and beyond. So we designed it for our watershed in mind, but it really has a lot of possibility for folks outside the watershed. And if we get more specific, we were really thinking this toolkit would be great for municipal staff and boards, local conservation groups and commissions, community partners like you all, who this is a deep part of your work, or others that just want to help residents in the watershed. We all know those clean water champions in our communities. So that's a zoomed in look at who we designed this toolkit for. It was created by PrEP, Roca Communications, who is an amazing environmental communications firm in our region, and Tangram 3DS, who is our incredible web design team. And the three of us came together to create this toolkit. And we came together to do this because we wanted to make it easier to talk about stormwater on a watershed-wide issue. So we all know that our lakes communities, our coastal communities, our rivers, they all experience the stress of stormwater, usually in slightly different ways, but it's impacting us all. So we felt like this was a huge opportunity to make it easier about stormwater and hopefully upskill the basic understanding about what it is, how it's affecting our water, and who's managing it, and how folks can make some behavior changes at home. We also know that municipalities must educate folks under the MS4 permits, and I really empathize with that. It's really hard to create compelling content. It takes a lot of work, takes a lot of time and a lot of creativity. That's my day in and day out. And so I can only imagine if it's a fraction of your time that you have to get these messages out the door. Um, and I think we all know that generic outreach in general can feel impersonal. We know that our community might have some questions about those storm drains, but they definitely relate to people and the place that they call home. And so we wanted to build capacity by providing you all with plug and play content that will help build stronger stewardship and upskill that baseline knowledge with some cool, engaging content. The big thing to take away from this slide is that we didn't wake up one day and decide to create a toolkit and boom, it was out the door 6 months later or something. This is many years in the making and really started with some really valuable, strong uh, um, advice and really strategic guidance from Roca Communication about the way that PrEP communicates in general. And then from there, we convened a focus group where we brought in bi-state local representatives from across the watershed to hear from them. What do you all need help with? And we knew from the science side that stormwater was having a big impact on our waterways. But in this focus group, we were also hearing it from our people. Our people were saying, we need help educating about stormwater. Um, can you help us with this? So we decided to take that idea forward. And now this toolkit is overseen by an advisory committee, which is also made up of a diverse group of by state local representatives. And Tom is one of those. So we really appreciate your support, Tom. So let's get into the toolkit a little bit by looking at the content, what's in it, how you might use it, and some of the big overarching ways that you can download this content. So the toolkit will live on the PrEP website. I will share these links at the end of the presentation. But the first step is you'll come to our webpage. You'll see this little box here, and you'll click on it, and you'll see the teaser of the toolkit behind it. You'll be prompted to fill out a short form with your name and some basic information. You'll agree to the terms of service for the toolkit, and then when you click submit, you'll be granted access to the toolkit. I should mention, we are not collecting this information for marketing purposes. You're not going to be added to our newsletter. We're simply just trying to gather who's using this toolkit so that we can improve it or potentially create others down the line. Because this is a new project for us, I should also mention that this is a pilot. And so we're really excited to see, hey, what happens when we release a resource like this to our community? This toolkit has it has over 80 different pieces of content that you can repurpose and reuse in a variety of ways. And I really want to emphasize that. I work in the communication side of things, and sometimes I know that folks think, oh, we did that post a long time ago, or we've done that flyer. Everyone has seen it, and it I get it, and I promise you, it's just simply not true. And I'm always amazed the amount of repurposing and redistributing of information that's required, not just for the information to sink in, but for folks to really see it. Um, and engage with it. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. So looking at the toolkit assets specifically, we'll start with the cornerstone assets. And they're called cornerstone assets because they're mostly agnostic of where you might use them. They're pretty flexible. So if you need like a bit of text for your newsletter, we have it. If you need an image or a video, you can pull from this resource, download it, and use it in whatever format you need. To download the Cornerstone assets, you're just going to click the orange download button under each, and they will go directly to your downloads folder. I believe they get downloaded as a zip file, and then you'll unzip them, at least for the video and the folder. So let's talk a little bit more about these three tools. Uh, First is a 5-minute feature video about stormwater. So this is an educational video that talks about what stormwater is, how it's affecting our water, um, who manages it and why, and how folks can make some behavior changes and how those changes really add up when the collective is participating in it. We really wanted to feature videos of footage of people in this video because we wanted folks to identify with that this is as much of a people issue as it is an environmental issue, and to see that they can be part of the solution to better stormwater management. We also know from an engagement standpoint that when people see people, it just has a higher engagement, a stronger engagement and better performance, especially in a digital landscape. The video also features bodies of water from around our watershed. So you're going to see the Lamprey River, you're going to see Great Bay, Stonehouse Pond, Great East Lake. You're going to see the coast, the Exeter River. So we really tried to feature different places around the watershed to make this issue personal, that this is an issue impacting the place that we call home and the water bodies that we care about. I should also mention that the video is available in shorter chaptered versions, which we know folks like online. Another piece of the Cornerstone asset is a folder of images. So you know you're working on a flyer, but you just need that classic image of a storm drain, or you want folks to see how cloudy stormwater is, or you need an image of a cyanobacteria bloom, an engineered wetland, a vegetative buffer. There are about 30 different images in this folder that you can download and grab and go for whatever purpose that you need. And the last piece of the Cornerstone assets is the messaging PDF. I really like this tool because it has so many different pieces of text that you can copy and paste and insert it wherever you need it to be. You need a definition for stormwater. You need to talk a little bit more about bacteria and stormwater. A lot of it's here, and it's just copied and paste to where you need it to go, or customized. You can, add in some details about your local body of water, or your municipality. It also has this really great instruction, a bit of instructions on this first page to tell you a little bit about how you might use this resource. So it can be a little overwhelming when you see all these different things. I highly encourage you to read that first page because it provides a lot of context of like, okay, well, I know I have a town cleanup coming up. When would I start using this resource? Or I just need a little bit more information on where to get started. That's what's on page 1. We also created a lot of social media content, and we're really excited about this. This content is for Facebook and Instagram. And whether you personally use Facebook a lot or at all, it's important to know that so many people in our watershed use these social platforms every day. They may be sharing personal content, but they also may be going onto Facebook Marketplace to buy a couch. They may be trying to look up, the weekly special at their favorite restaurant. So they're coming to these platforms to engage with their community or get some information about something. And this is a huge opportunity for us to engage with this this great population about stormwater, to just insert a little bit into their experience online. Almost all the municipalities in the Piscataqua watershed have a Facebook page, and there is a growing presence on Instagram, and that's why we selected those two platforms in particular. The social content is organized a little differently than the Cornerstone assets. And so I'll walk you through how that works, how to download it, and the different features that are available to you with social content. So the social media assets are divided up into three topical sections. What is stormwater and why does it matter? How stormwater is affecting our water, and how do we manage stormwater and how you can help. I've been telling folks this one is my favorite. It really is. I think that when we were putting this toolkit together, we really wanted to celebrate the awesome work that our municipalities are already doing to manage stormwater. And whether that's through street sweeping or town cleanups, there's so many different amazing things, cleaning catch basins. And so we wanted, as we're educating folks about what stormwater is, we didn't want to leave them with oh no, no one's doing anything in my community. I can't believe this. Or this is too big for me. I'm kind of shutting down. We wanted to encourage folks to be proud of their town, that this is something that, this awesome work is happening and that they can join in and make a difference too. So I really love this section. I hope there's some good information in here for you all as well. These are fully packaged social media posts. So when you download a post, you get everything you need. You get the caption, some of which can be customized to your local body of water or to your municipality. You get the hashtags, and you also get the alt text for accessibility. There's also a range of content here. So everything from educational type content, cartoons, dad jokes, memes, it's all kind of mixed in the variety here. And I should also mention that we focused on a format called carousel, which is basically a post that features several videos, or excuse me, well, it can, but several images, as well as video content, because we know that these are the hardest and most time consuming to make. And they also perform the best on both Facebook and Instagram. Reels significantly get in front of viewers, even if they don't like or comment. A lot of people end up seeing this video content, and Carousel really supports engagement. People are more likely to like a post or leave a comment on a carousel style format. So the other thing that you can do with the social content is download branded or unbranded versions of the content. So if I think the default is branded. And what that means is there's going to be a prep logo on it. And so what we heard from our focus group and then again in our advisory committee is that sometimes folks really want to rely on a trusted source for this content. And so they don't really want to put it out under their own authority. And so that's what that branded option is for. Likewise, if you want to put out this content as if you created it, that is also what it's for. You do not need to credit prep. You can simply toggle on this unbranded toggle and download an unbranded version of it. And so you'll get the exact same content, except there won't be a prep logo on it. You can also preview the content before you download it. So if you have your mouse over a post and want to learn a little bit more about what you're getting, you'll click on it, and then you'll be able to toggle through all the images. You'll be able to read the captions, see the hashtags that accompany the post. So you can get a full range of what you're downloading before you download it. Same thing for videos. You'll be able to watch those videos before you download them. So downloading these resources functions a little differently than the Cornerstone assets, which is just one click of the button. The analogy that I've been using is, these files are really big in its culmination. So it would be like if you were moving out of your house and a minivan shows up and that's it. We wanted to avoid that situation. But we did find a method that I think will be somewhat familiar to you all. So there are some instructions on how to download the social media assets. But basically what you are going to do is you're going to go through each of the three sections. You can go through them all at the same time and select which ones you want. Do you want them branded or unbranded? Toggle on or off. And then you're going to add it to your downloads. And basically this functions like an e-commerce shopping cart. You're going to add all the posts that you want to your cart. And as you can see, I have 3 posts in my cart. on the right side of the screen. And once you're ready to download them, you're going to click Download My Toolkit. A zip file will automatically download to your downloads folder. And what you're seeing here are your posts. So each folder has the images that you need. There's a file with the caption and the alt text. And they're neatly organized so you know which post is what images go with what. You'll also get this one-page social media user guide. So this is like a best practice guide at a super high level. When I was going through all of the municipalities' Facebook pages, I noticed there's a huge range. There's some folks that are posting 45 times a month. There's some that are posting 4 times a month. And then there are some that maybe post 1 to 4 times a year. So the frequency of how those communities might use this resource is going to vary based on their frequency. So we have some good recommendations that you can cater to your personal cadence. And then lastly, we can dig in more in this in conversation, but I thought I'd compile some tips that I feel would make using this toolkit valuable or useful. The first is that reposting is a really smart strategy. You know, if you feel like, oh, well, I did a what is stormwater post a month ago, it's okay to do another one the next month. It's okay to do the same post 6 months later, because this is a really helpful way of getting it back in front of that audience. Um, Not everybody's going to see this content, so we have to really focus on that reinforcement versus reinvention, doing a new way of doing it. You can also, there are ways to repost this content to different, you know, in different ways on these platforms. So even if you create a post, you can reshare them to your story. There's a lot of different ways to kind of repurpose this content. I also think it's super valuable to weave in the engaging content that your audience already loves, whether it's a community event or a community spotlight or, you know, the kinds of things that folks go to town pages or any Facebook page for. We do not recommend Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday stormwater content. That would be like watching the same TV show, the same episode over and over again. But weaving it in with the other enriching content that folks care about is a great way to use this content. It also can be used to buoy some of those specific MS4 messages. From my understanding and talking with Tom, all of this content is going to support the extra credit component of the MS4. When it comes to meeting a specific requirement, I would definitely run that by Tom to make sure that you are meeting that requirement. But this toolkit is going to help connect those dots. So if you're focusing on pet waste, but we haven't connected the dots that, you know, this pet waste ends up in the water and, you know, the storm drain isn't a place for pet waste, and that, you know, this stormwater is affecting our waterways, like we can help connect the dots a little bit better. So it's a great way to kind of toggle between the toolkit and the specific messages that you all are already putting out. And lastly, recruits, hopefully you're not doing this alone. You have some staff and volunteers to help you, but even if you don't, you can come get help with me. And so I'm offering office hours, 30-minute increments, that you can book a session with me to talk about whatever. You need help posting a video to Facebook. Great, I'll show you how to do that. You want to learn how to schedule content in Facebook for free using this content so you're not overwhelmed every day. What am I going to post this week kind of thing? You can book a session with me. Or if you have something a little bit more complex, like you know you have a town cleanup, when should you start putting out some stormwater content? You can come talk with me and I'm happy to work through some ideas. This is the link to the toolkit. And so I will pop these in the chat in just a moment, but I thought I would just give a few seconds for folks to pull that up on their devices if they wish. And I would be remiss if I didn't encourage you to sign up for our newsletter. I know we're at the holiday season. It's really chaotic, good information, but might be a 2026 thing that you're going to dig into. So you can certainly reach out to me at any time. But if you sign up for our newsletter, we will be sending an email out about this in the new year. We send 4 emails per year, plus a couple special announcements here and there, so we're never going to clog your inbox. And it's a great way to stay in the loop about stuff that we might be able to support you with. So that's my presentation, and I would love to open this up to questions and pop those links in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Amy. I'm going to stop recording before we go into questions.